It's never a good idea to try and build your own tower all the way up to heaven. And this man found out the hard way. Why? When God confused everyone's language, no one could understand each other, and the whole project fell apart. This is the story of the Tower of Babel, part 4 of our series covering every story in the Bible. So after the whole killing of Abel's situation, which happened in the last video, humanity was like, okay, let's just get out of this Garden of Eden because things are kind of awkward right now. So they packed up and left and started building their first city, and also a tower so tall that it would reach up into heaven. Like, does anyone else think it's weird that the first thing they did after leaving the garden was to start building a tower all the way to heaven? Because that sounds pretty judgmental if you ask me. Like they were totally rejected by God and kicked out of the only home they'd ever known, and their response was to defy him and try to force their way back in. That's like going to Vegas right after your wife kicked you out after losing everything, and then going all in at the roulette table on red because you're due for a win. Yeah, probably don't do that. But hey, they were trying to get closer to God, I guess, or maybe they just really wanted a good cell signal. Who knows? Anyway, they got to work laying the bricks, and it was a big project, like seriously huge. So they needed a lot of manpower, and eventually it became the biggest city in the world. Now, I imagine that as they were building this tower, everyone was getting along great. They were working together toward a common goal, and there wasn't any conflict or division. But once they finished the tower and it was time to move in, suddenly everyone started speaking different languages, and no one could understand each other anymore. Now, you've probably heard the phrase, the Tower of Babel is where all the languages of the world came from, but that's not actually what the text says. What it says is that this is where all the languages got mixed up, and people couldn't understand each other anymore. It doesn't say anything about different languages being created. It's just saying that they all spoke the same language before, but then everything got jumbled and no one could understand anyone else. Imagine if all of a sudden you woke up and everyone in the world was speaking Spanish and you didn't know any Spanish and they didn't speak English anymore. You wouldn't be able to understand anybody and nobody would be able to understand you. And you might think, oh no, this is terrible. Wait, this is actually amazing. This means we can finally watch all those Netflix shows dubbed in Spanish, and no one's going to spoil it for us by telling us what happens. We can binge watch Narcos, and no one's going to tell us that Pablo Escobar is dead for like the 10th time. We can finally put subtitles on and listen to Chad Michael Murray narrate our lives. This is amazing. I mean, we still have like one massive problem. But yeah, this is pretty cool. So everyone was speaking in tongues, and the whole project of building a tower to heaven fell apart because no one could communicate with each other anymore. Now, obviously, this story has some serious implications for all of human history because it explains why there are so many different languages in the world today. But for our purposes, the main lesson here is that when you try to take something that belongs to God and make it your own, He's going to mess it up for you. Like, you can't just plop down a set of circumstances and expect everything to go your way. And more importantly, you can't manipulate God through your own efforts. This is what a lot of people miss about Christianity. They think that all they have to do is get up every morning and pray real hard that everything will go their way. But that's not what prayer is. Prayer is simply coming before the Lord and talking to Him about your life. Yes, sometimes He answers our prayers in the way that we ask, but most times He either says no or wait, or He'll answer our prayer in ways that we don't expect, but that are better for us in the long run. Prayer isn't just about getting God to do what we want. It's about doing what He wants. I don't know about you, But I need God to wake me up every morning because I miss the good old days when I could sleep till noon and not feel guilty about it. Those were good times. Back when I ate pizza rolls for breakfast. I wish those days would come back. I mean, that's probably not gonna happen, but I can ask him. But here's the thing, even if he said yes, and I woke up every morning feeling refreshed and ready to tackle the day, that's not actually what I want. I mean, sure, it would be nice, but that's not what I want. What I really want is to have a relationship with God. I want to know him and do his will. That's what I want. And if he wakes me up every morning so that I can sit at his feet and learn from him, well, then that's actually what I want. In other words, the point is that God has the right to tell me no, and he also has the right to change my mind. He can show me that what I thought I wanted isn't actually what I want. Now, in this story, the people didn't receive an answer of no or yes. They received an answer of wait. God told them it wasn't time yet. He said, these people are trying to get up to heaven with their own efforts, but I'm going to confuse their language so they can't understand each other, and the project will fall apart. And that's exactly what he did. He confused their language. But notice how he didn't curse them or punish them or destroy them. He just made their plans fall apart. And that's enough punishment. When you walk down the wrong path, all you have to do is step on a pebble and trip and fall. You don't need someone to shove you over. Sometimes the best thing that can happen to you is to simply fail at something, because then you'll realize that you need help. Most people never get to that point because they're too proud to admit that they need help. But true humility comes when you realize that you're too weak to carry your own burdens. True strength comes from admitting that you need help. Realize that you're powerless on your own, and then trust in God to help you. This is where most Christians fail. They try to be strong on their own and carry their own burdens instead of bringing them to God and letting him handle it. And the truth is that we all want to build our own tower to heaven. We all want to earn God's favor by our own efforts. We try to impress him with our own achievements and think that if we do enough good things, then he'll love us more. But that's just how the world works. That's how we used to live before we knew God. But once we become children of God, things change. Now, our efforts to earn God's favor are futile because we've already earned his favor by placing our faith in Jesus Christ. Once you realize this, you'll stop trying to build your own tower and start enjoying the one that God built for you. Now, hopefully you enjoyed this video and learned something from it. Oh, and don't forget to leave a comment below to let me know what you thought. I love reading your comments and responding to them. I'm always so excited to see what you have to say. Thanks for watching. Bye.